Okay, you guys, welcome to Junior Makers. My name is Kim. I am a community learning specialist with DoSpace, and today we are making something really, really fun. Today we are making pneumatic moving monsters. So I actually have one right here, a little guy, and if I have this little syringe, and if I press this syringe, his little mouth should open and close. So I'm going to be showing you how we are going to be making one of these today. So yeah, so we are making a pneumatic moving monster. And I'm going to say that maybe the word pneumatic might be new to you, because when I was researching this project, it was new to me too. So my question for you is, what does pneumatic mean? It's a good question. So this is another picture of it. I was like, where's my slide? Yeah, so this is another picture of what we are making today, our little pneumatic machine. So what does pneumatic mean? So pneumatic is an aspect of physics or engineering that concerns with using the energy in compressed air or gas to make something move or work. So you may have heard of the word hydraulic. So a lot of things that are hydraulic powered, uses water, compressed water to move things. What we are doing, instead of using water, we are using compressed air. So as you can see in, like, if I bring this back up, if this guy wants to say, we have two of these little syringes connected by a tube, and the air in between these syringes, when we move the syringe paddle back and forth, the compressed air helps it move back and forth. So that is the meaning of pneumatic. So yeah, that was a new, so you could also, if you wanted to be, if you want to get really exciting, you could actually put water in this tube as well. And then it would be hydraulic based, and so using pressurized water as opposed, or liquid, I guess. It doesn't have to be just water, but you probably use water, but pressurized liquid instead of pressurized air or gas. So that is what we are making today. We are making these really fun pneumatic moving monsters. And the fun thing about this is, like, once you kind of get the science behind it, or get the kind of know how to make it, you can make any number of pneumatic or hydraulic moving things based off the same kind of design, with two syringes, or as many as you want, with tubing that connects it. So that is what we are going to make today. So let's get started. So you probably have some of the things that we need. You might not have everything, and that's okay. If you actually go to our website at dospace.org, or if you just actually even just Google DoSpace blogs, I've written a blog about the materials that you will need for this, for our project today. So you might not have everything, but you'll probably have some things, and maybe you'll have everything, or maybe you can even kind of look around and see what can you make, or maybe you have other things that you can replace. We'll see. So the first thing you need is some colorful paper. So I have in my picture just a couple of pieces of colorful paper, and I have that right here as well. You can see in my original, I have some colorful paper. It could be cardstock, it could be construction paper. I have just kind of colorful copy paper. Really, you'll just really need probably one sheet that's basically a letter size, that 8.5 by 11, but it doesn't have to be, it can be smaller or bigger. And then some other pieces for just decoration, or I did some different color for the teeth. So you'll just need some colorful paper. You're gonna need a couple of syringes. I'm realizing that I thought I had everything I needed in front of me. I'm gonna take this off. You'll need a couple of these syringes. So these you might not have around the house. So I had a couple because I have a kiddo, and this is how, if she is, maybe a little sick or not feeling well, we can administer medicine. So these are just kind of like oral syringes that you can buy these online. You might have them around from maybe if you have younger siblings or little kiddos, you might have some of these around the house. And so they're just like little plastic oral medical syringes and I have a couple of 10 milliliters, and then a 5 milliliter. So like whatever you have, you might have to, kind of finagle, and we'll talk about that in terms of kind of the best way to get your monster to move. I mean, if you even had some 20 milliliter ones, you could use that as well. So you'll need at least 2 of these as of these kind of plastic syringes. You are going to need some kind of small plastic I have PVC tubing, but like this is like tubing that I actually just found around my house. I think it went to a toy. I'm not sure, but who knows? But anyway, I actually just found this tubing around my house. The nice thing about it is you just want to make sure that the end of your syringe fits nicely and kind of tightly inside the tubing. So you can kind of see how I've just placed that in there. So again, the blog has a link to where you can buy some online. I bet if you even went to a hardware store, even maybe a craft store, I bet you would be able to find tubing like this as well. So you are going to need some tape. I have just some regular kind of painter's tape. You can also use Scotch tape, whatever you have around the house. You're gonna need some scissors because you're gonna be doing some cutting of your paper. You're gonna want a glue stick to kind of help glue some things down. And you're also gonna need I've been using glue dots or some like sticky tabs. So but I've been using glue dots for this, and glue dots are really, really great. You can find these at like, a craft store. And basically they're little, they're like little dollops, and it's kind of hard to see because they're clear, but I'm gonna see if we can, they're like little dollops. There we go. Or maybe there we go. Little dollops of glue. They're just like little pats. It's almost like a little pat of glue that you can stick on things. And they're nice and super sticky. And so I've been using these. They've been really great. You could use like sticky back tabs, or just like, like M3 tab, sticky things. You could also use hot glue. If you have a hot glue gun, you could also use a hot glue gun as well. And then you'll just need some like extra cardstock or some other craft items to decorate. So I don't have those pictured because, really it's limitless, right? What you could do to decorate these little fun monsters. So I have in one of my pictures, I'm going to go back up a bit. Oh, maybe just 2. Yeah. So I actually use for the eyes pieces of foam. So, but you could use so many googly eyes. You could put some googly eyes on there. You could use felt. I mean, you could really use anything to kind of decorate your monster. And that's the fun part about these. So those are the basics of what we need. Now I know that I don't have pictured the tubing on my picture, but this is kind of what it looks like. I'll make sure I update it so whenever this gets on our YouTube page. So let's get started on how to make our little guys. So the first thing you are going to want is to get your piece of paper. So I have my piece of paper right here, and you are going to want to fold it in half. And so you're going to want to fold it in half so the short sides meet up. So you just fold it, and it doesn't have to be perfect, monsters there, they can be a little rough around the edges, so that's okay. So then you're going to have it, I always forget, I know that there's a thing where there's like in schools now they use like hamburger and hot dog, and I don't know the difference. So you want it the short way. I think that's the hot dog, hamburger, it doesn't matter. Where you put your short sides together, and then you're going to do it where your short sides are together again. So it makes like kind of like a little booklet. So you're gonna have your little booklet. You can see, so it's basically short sides together, short sides together, just like that. And then you should end up with where you're gonna have a corner. So you have your 1, 2, 3, 4 corners, and you're gonna look for the corner that you have the 4 loose sides. So you don't want any of the folded sides or anything like that. See how this has just the 2 with the fold. You want the 4, you want the one where the 4 kind of corners are all separated. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna cut that corner. And the great thing about it is you can do whatever you like. You can see in my picture, I did kind of a zigzag. I'm gonna cut this in kind of like a swirl. You can do it straight across. It really doesn't matter. We're just going to cut that just like that. And what you could always do is keep your extra bits to decorate with if you would like. So don't throw those out if you don't want to. You can always keep your extra bits. So then you will kind of open it up, and then you can you'll be able to see that this is kind of how your monster is going to look. So basically, this is going to be your mouth, right? And then the next thing you're going to do, so let me get us caught up here. Yep. So now you just want to open it back up. And then what you are going to do is you are going to cut out a tab right in the middle. Now you should be able to see you have your fold line right in the middle, right? Well, you're going to cut basically on either side of that tab line, that fold line. So about maybe an inch on either side of that fold line, just to kind of make a tab. You can see how you've made like a little tab, and if you open it up, you can see how it's made like this little tab guy. Maybe it's kind of hard to see, but here we go. This might be a little bit better. You can see how it kind of made this little tab. And then you're also going to cut, I don't know, about halfway to those tabs on either side. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm gonna just slide my scissors right in between my top and my bottom, and I'm just gonna cut about halfway to those tab that I just cut as well. You're gonna have it kind of like little folds open like this. And then what you're gonna wanna do, let's move on in our picture. I think I might've gotten ahead of myself a little bit. I did, but that's okay. So then what we're gonna do is you're gonna kind of open up, and it really doesn't matter which side, but you can kind of see how if I open up, you see this tab, you're just gonna cut one end. So just like this. So you can kind of see how I cut it just where the end is. And so now we know for sure where our top is and where our bottom is. So our top is where our tab is connected, and then our bottom, we do not have a tab. You can kind of see that there. And I saw that we had a question. So can we go back? What part do you need to go back to? Also, just so you know, that we'll be posting this on videos or on our YouTube. So you can always, in a day or two, you can always go back to our YouTube page, our Do Space YouTube page, and you can pause it and kind of go back if you need to. But so I'll just kind of review. So you kind of got it folded, you cut your edge. We've cut a tab on either side of our fold line. And then if we opened it up, you can kind of see how I've cut one side of our tab. So it used to be connected, and now it has, and I just cut. And then I also cut halfway on the edges, halfway to those tab lines. And nope, you do not have to use pink paper. This is just the paper I have. You can use any color of paper that you that you have. It does not have to be pink paper. Your monster can be, your pneumatic monster can be any kind of paper that you want. So yeah, don't have to use pink. So now we know that we have our top and we have our bottom, and we know that because our tab is connected to our top and there is no tab at the bottom. And so here's where you can kind of get a little bit creative too. If you want, you can kind of fold up, you know, the sides. If you want, you can leave it flat, but we're definitely gonna, on the bottom side, we're definitely gonna wanna kind of fold it just like this. Mostly because we're going to be gluing it to a piece of cardboard, which I'm realizing I didn't talk about that. Even though I had a picture, I'm realizing I didn't talk about it. But you'll want a piece, maybe like a cardboard or just something to like glue it on, just to give it some stability. So you'll just be able to glue that kind of right there. And which is why we cut the sides, right? To kind of give it a tab that you can do that for. And nope, you do not have to have a squiggly line for the mouth. Again, like when I made it, I did kind of a curvy for, you can kind of see in this one, I did more zigzags. So you can choose whatever you like. You can go straight across, angled. It does not have to be. Again, there's some creativity to this. Like you do not have to do it exactly like me. You can do it however you like. I can even go to, let's see, this picture. You can kind of see, oh, I did that one a little bit curvy as well. So you could do it straight across, and you do not have to make it swervy like I did. Here we go. So yeah, so you should have, that's not what I want. I'm scrolling the wrong way, which is why things are going a little bit crazy in terms of the pictures. Okay, so this should be where we're at. I'm also trying to keep people getting their questions answered as well. So you can kind of see this is what our top should look like, and this is what our bottom should look like with our tab. And you can kind of see how I folded it as well, that bottom part, just so that there is something to glue it down to on our piece of cardboard when we get there. So this is where we can connect our syringes. So you can kind of see, and I talked about this. So we have our two syringes, and we're just going to connect one right now. So we're gonna, I am going to connect our bigger one. And again, I have like this is a 5 mil one. I have a 10 mil one. 10 milliliter. You can even do like 15 or 20 if you have one of those. It really doesn't matter. But you just want to make sure that your piece of piping connects snugly onto your little syringe, and so and that you can move it. And so you want to make sure because we're going to connect this to the bottom part. You want to make sure that it is like your plunger guy is all the way down. So you want to keep that all the way down. And then this is where you can add your glue dot. Now again, if you don't have a glue dot for this, that's okay. I have glue dots. If you have this, you can hot glue this part. If you have some hot glue, basically you can also use, if you have like the C9 or 3M tabs, or kind of the sticky, where they're two-sided stickies pads, you could use that as well. So we have our top, right? And then this is our bottom. And basically we just want to, I'm gonna add my piece of glue dot just right onto the top. And the nice thing about it is you can kind of just place it where you need to. You can kind of see sort of a little bit hard. We have this piece of cellophane, and then I can just like place the glue dot where I want to, and then kind of lift up the cellophane. Sometimes it's they like to stick to your cellophane. Whoop. So then I have my glue dot at the end of and then I am going to basically, you're just gonna this is your bottom part, right? So it's upside down. So this is our top because it has our tab. This is the bottom. And basically, you're just gonna kind of lay it flush and then fold the tab over so it glues onto the plunger of your syringe. And that is because when we, and I'm gonna flip it back over, because now when we open, when we move that plunger back, it's gonna open our mouth. And when it closes, when it goes in, when the plunge is in, it closes it. So we kind of, if it goes back, it opens. If it goes back in, it closes. So you can kind of see maybe where we're going with this, if we have two of these. So there, so again, our tab is connected to the end of our, I will go ahead with our picture. So it's a little bit hard with my video, right? So you can kind of see how in my picture I have my, this is the bottom side, it's laid down flat. I have the end of my plunger glued, either hot glued or glue dotted or whatever you have to that little tab. And then you're just gonna tape it down. So you just wanna tape it down so that it stays in place. So then I can put, and again, you can, I have some, I have all sorts of kind of tapes here with me. I have some painter's tape and I have some Scotch tape. And so, but you just want to, whatever tape you kind of have, you just want to kind of tape it down so it stays in place just like that. So again, that's our bottom and this is our top. So this is the top of our monster and this is our bottom part. So after that, then you're going to want to kind of glue it down to your piece of cardboard. So that will be, and that's where these tabs come into play. And I'm not going to do that right now just because I think it'll make it a little bit cumbersome for me to show you, but you don't have to, but it kind of gives it just a nice like platform for your monster to kind of stay placed. So the bottom stays in place and then it just allows the mouth to open and close that much easier if you kind of have it. So you can just glue the little tabs down. You can kind of see, just kind of glue it down just like that on those tabs that we already folded on the bottom. And so basically, now you can connect our second syringe. And so I'm going to take my second syringe. And this is where you're going to have to kind of play with a little bit. So you definitely, so like I said before, you want to make sure that your syringe on the bottom of your monster, like the plunger, is all the way down, right? We have our plunger all the way down. You basically kind of the opposite with our other syringe. You want our plunge kind of either, I've been having successful where it's like halfway, but you might have to play with it a little bit. And this is because when you, and you can even like feel air, or you should a little bit, if you press down, like if you had it all, if you had your plunger all the way up and then you press down, you put your hand, you should be able to feel a little bit of air. And that's because the air that's in the tube right now, when you press down on your plunger, it pushes all of that air out. And so basically that's what's going to be here. When I attach our syringe to the other side of the tube, I'm trapping the air inside our tube. And so in doing that, I'm kind of creating pressurized air. Our air is, it's, like I said, trapped in the tube. So if I press this side, and we can maybe, I'll do it so it's like this way. So when I press down on my plunger, and this might be, might be hard to see, and I might have to get my bigger plunger, or I might have to get my bigger syringe. Where is my bigger syringe? So I'll get it in just a second. So when basically there's nowhere else for that air to go, but into the tube of this one, so it's pressurized. So I'm going to grab my bigger syringe and just think that'll be a little bit more successful. So like I said, I have my 10, again, I have a 10 mil on my, Monster. I have another 10 milliliter syringe here. So I'm gonna go about maybe, I'm gonna maybe go a little bit more than halfway. Put that on there. Let's try this one more time to see if you can see it work. Again, so we've trapped the air in our tube. If I press down, it should pressurize, and there's nowhere else for that air to go but into the tube of the other syringe. Woo! I hope you saw that. Now you can see how my plunger of this one has gone up because, again, there was nowhere else for that air to go. So in theory, if we bring this back, it should suck that air back up. And that's where I found that it's actually halfway. So let's try that one more time. You sometimes have to reset. So I found that, sometimes you have to reset by taking the tube completely off your syringe, putting in your plunger. And then I'm gonna insert my, and I found that halfway is good because then just sometimes a little bit of air goes a long way in terms of opening it. And then you can pull it all the way back to close it. So a little bit to open and it close. So this is where maybe like a bigger one, like if I had two 20s or a 20 and a 10, it might be a little bit more, but you can kind of see it's not super dramatic, but it's doing it. I'm opening and closing because of that pressurized air in our tube. So it has nowhere else to go but back and forth in between those tubes. So basically, in terms of that, you're basically done. So you could keep it like this, but that's kind of boring, right? This doesn't really look like a monster. Especially, I mean, monsters can be pink, I think. But I think we need to kind of jazz it up a little bit. So we might need to give it some teeth. And so this is what I found the easiest way to give it some teeth. So I kind of have a smaller, this is probably like half of a sheet of paper. And I found that if I fold it the long way, you can just, on the opening, no, not on the opening, on the folded side, there we go, don't want to give you wrong instructions. On the folded side, you can kind of just go back and forth and make some teeth. The nice thing about it, because it's folded, you're basically making two sets. So now I have, a little bit torn. I didn't cut it all the way. Now I have two sets. I have a top set and a bottom set of teeth. And I found that the easiest way to attach it to your monster is, you can see in my picture, I folded it. So if you just kind of fold a little tab at the top, this is where that tab, we'll just glue that, and it'll glue to the top and the bottom of our teeth, or of our mouth. So if like mine, you know, we kind of have a little bit of curve. You could have it so where you just have teeth right in the front, but you can see in this one, I have teeth that kind of have gone around the side. So how do we do that? And I have learned that if you kind of measure out, you can kind of see that picture. If you measure out where your mouth is going, like the ends of your mouth, the front of your mouth, if you cut the little tab right at the ends, and you can see how I have my little tab, I'm just going to cut that tab on either side where I measured out. And then when I do, it folds just like that. So you can kind of see how this could be like the top or the bottom of your teeth. So then you can just, and then you have this handy little tab that if you glue your hot glue, or if you glue with glue stick, you can kind of round out how your teeth go. And you can do this for the top and the bottom. To make it look like that. There we go. And then I've realized after I made this that I didn't include a picture of adding eyes, but you can kind of see in mine right here, I use the extras. These are the parts I cut out from whenever the folds. I just folded a tab and glued that and then drew a little eye. So now it kind of looks like a little frog, a little scary frog, but you can use googly eyes, you can use foam. I mean, you can really use anything to like really decorate your monster to make it look like a monster. And so, and then when it's all finished, you should be able to, just with the tube, open it up and close it and open it up and close it. So again, let's see if I can show. So I'm pulling it opens up a little bit. And then, again, I think it needs to be reset. But you might have to play with it a little bit. You know, it's not perfect, but it gives you the idea of how it works, how the physics behind it, how, you know, that pressurized air, where does it go? It goes into one tube and back out, and into it, one and back out. And with that, it opens and closes your mouth. And just knowing that, again, you can do so many things. You can make so many other crafts with syringes and little tubing like this. A lot of times, if you even just like Google like hydraulic crafts, or probably if you Google pneumatic crafts, you'll be able to find some really cool things to do. But again, I didn't add it. I thought I had added the one I had made at the very end. Oh, here's it. So this is the one that I made. It's a little bit deconstructed because I had to use the tubing and pipes for another one, but you can kind of see this is how I made one earlier. And it should just open and up with that tube. So, and the thing is, again, I have foam on the top of this. These eyes are little pieces of foam, and it makes the top a little bit heavier, which kind of helps it with the closing. And so I think you'll notice that when you open it, it opens really well, but sometimes the closing is a little bit funky. And so if you have some stuff at the top, it'll weight it down to help it close a little bit easier. So yeah, so friends, thank you so much for joining me with Junior Makers. Again, this will be in a few days. We'll be on our YouTube channel, our DoSpace YouTube channel. So you'll be able to pause and go back if you need to. If you go to and I'll have this on the link as well on our YouTube. But if you go to our DoSpace page and go to our blogs, I have a blog as well that links you to all the materials that you will need for this and where you can buy them. And yeah, and also our summer, our summer has started. So please join us every Tuesday and Tuesday and Thursday. DoSpace is going to be dropping new videos on our social media and our YouTube. On Tuesdays are our make-alongs, on Thursdays are our summer STEAM challenges. And so every week is going to be a little bit different. So join us for our make-alongs and challenges for that this week. And then we'll be doing our pneumatic moving monsters every Wednesday this month for Junior Makers. So again, thank you for joining me. I hope you have a good evening. Have fun making. Have a good night, guys.